start because there were questions about the away form coming into this game, and you answered it with Arsenal's biggest ever away win. Well, it equals the biggest ever away win in Champions League / European Cup history. What's your response to that?
Very happy, obviously. It's a big result against a big opponent. I think they haven't lost a game here in 18 months. And we wanted to make a statement, you know. I felt really good energy, really good belief before the match. You have to put it into practice. I think the first half was exceptional. It gave us the platform to win the game, and a really positive and important win for us.
As you said, dominant in that first half. Were you actually surprised by how much space that you had?
Well, you have to create that space. You have to earn it, and normally they don't give you that space. But I think we're really clever, really intelligent, really efficient the way we attack them, and that's the way we put our advantage forward.
Look, it's probably normal away from home in a Champions League game. At some point, you're going to come under pressure. You conceded, but were you pleased with how you dealt with that? And does that show growth?
Yeah, because you could sense that the atmosphere was changing. The last thing that you want to do is concede in the first minute, give them any belief. We didn't manage to do that. But after, I think we showed a lot of personality to bring the game down, to start to have the ball again when we have to defend deeper, and then manage to score the fourth goal. And I think that's when the game changed again.
And it looked like your players were having fun at the end out there. I mean, Martinelli off the mark in the Champions League in terms of goals this season. Big Gabby, his first ever Champions League goal.
Well, you have to enjoy, you know, when you come and play in this competition against these kind of teams, you have to enjoy it. And what I loved about the team is how we flowed, how they play with that purpose to make things happen, and really pleased.
Is it a relief, or maybe it's not a relief because you know your squad, that you could back up that Forest game now? This is 2 games in a row where you've been really on it.
And that's what we need. You need the consistency. You want to be challenging for big things. You have to be so consistent and win again. Today was a very different game, but we adapted really well, and let's move on now.
Hey, Mikel, thank you, madam.
Thank you.
Really, a nice interview there with Mikel Arteta, actually. He used some interesting phrases, talking about how efficient they were, how he loves it when his players play with purpose. And this is something that, you know, this obviously has to come from the top, but they've been through a really sticky period. So to be able to put back-to-back wins and back-to-back big wins together really is that statement that they were looking for.
Yeah, and we always say the key word is momentum, and you've got to create that through winning games consistently. And like Martin said at the top of the show, there's been suspensions, injuries to key players, and that's kind of destabilised the squad. Now these guys are back. You're seeing a true reflection of what the quality they have in this squad, and these players, and what they can produce. Now they have to produce on a consistent basis over a good period of time to get themselves back into the title race. But that first 45, if you're analysing that in isolation, that's the best I've seen Arsenal for a long time. That first 45 minutes. They were great in all areas, defensively, controlling without and with the ball, and then capitalising and being decisive with goals at key moments. And you could see Mikel Arteta there, he was shining the pearly whites there, giving us a good glimpse.
We don't see them that often, do we?
We don't see them often, so it was nice to see that he seemed quite happy and proud of his team.
Yeah.
He's rightfully proud of his team, and he also then is at great pains to say, look, let's move on. Let's go to the next game. That's the life now of a...
Join us today on Telegram for free and enjoy the Premier League. Don't miss out. Link in description below.
Something, it's to West Ham you go. You know, there's been a lot of away games that they've been involved in, so it's been quite tricky. I think currently they're involved with, you know, I think 7 games. Of the 7 games they're involved in at the moment, only one of them has been at home, so that gives you an idea. And I think they've had to show a lot of character, personality, but the next one's the most important one. Got to keep doing it. If that's what you've got to do, that's the standard that they've set now tonight. You've seen it. I saw it at the game at the weekend. It was an honour for me to be at the match, to see the performance. They were different class against Nottingham Forest. They brought that to the table again tonight. The manager had his finger on the pulse. He knew, he could sense. He just wanted the team to push through with it, and he got that performance. So he just needs to keep doing that now for the next 25 games.
But you know, the mad thing is, though, as a professional footballer at the highest level, you don't really get to enjoy moments like that for a long time. By the time them guys have had a shower, had their bits of food and nutrition and the drinks that you get on the coach journey, and you get to the airport and you get on that plane, but by the time you're on the plane, you're settled and you take off, and then definitely by the time you land, you're thinking about the next game.
Sad, isn't it, really?
It's sad, you know, but that's the life of a footballer.
Yeah.
The ones that hang on to results and performances like this for longer than that type of period, for too long, and then one day you lose focus and you probably don't have your eyes on the next prize.
You've got to keep wanting more. You've got to keep striving for perfection. And until that trophy or something's in the cabinet, you know, and even when it doesn't change you. You just still want more again, to deny other people from doing it, or to motivate a group, and always welcoming other people to the club, and you want them to experience in it. This group hasn't really had any success, but it still keeps coming back, and they're on the edge of it. Yeah. Let's see what can happen, because Man City now, we saw that they drew again tonight. Is the stranglehold from City, starting to disappear? I pretty well think they'll come back. To be honest, we keep saying it. Liverpool now setting their benchmark, but the English team's now doing really well again in the Premier League.
And it's crazy because we thought if City do slip up, the first team that came to mind was Arsenal going to be there. And it doesn't look like that at the moment. No. It could change, but Liverpool are now the team in the driver's seat once City have slipped up. And for a team like Arsenal who have been there waiting, that's a test of character as well. Can you now dust yourself down and go again and have that relentless kind of approach? So we'll see what they're made of now over this course of this next part of the season.
And this is it, because Arsenal have been accused of sort of having this sort of mental fragility in recent seasons, but now they're in their second term in the Champions League as well, with big results like that. They did well last season to get as far as they did into the knockout rounds, and then this season it's all about that next platform and building, not just on the pitch but mentally as well.
Yeah, and they've regathered themselves. It's do you crumble? When things don't go your way, or does that make you into a better man, a better personality, and a better character? And we're seeing the character tonight. They managed this game here tonight beautifully, and every single one of them stood up on the night.
Yeah, disappointing.
So, didn't go Micah's way. Thierry, did go your way. Arsenal 5 goals away from home.
For once I can flex my muscles.
Hey!
Well, away from home, we were talking about it. Can Arsenal perform against a team that beat Man City? Overall, it looked like an easy game, although Sporting came back from a goal from... we're going to see Gabriel scoring first, making it 3-0. Sporting came back in the second half with a purpose, and then the penalty on Ødegaard, I think, is going to make it 4. Ignatius makes it 3-1 first and foremost.
Was he worried when this went in, Thierry?
Yeah, you know what? Because of the way we've been away from home, look at what happened to City. You never know what can happen in Europe when you let the team believe that they can, and then obviously they score a penalty, as we all know, and then Trossard scored his first goal this season in the Champions League. Overall, it was a good and easy win. Needed it, by the way. We didn't score a goal for a very long time in the Champions League, and then suddenly you score 5 away from home. I'm talking about, obviously.
In different competitions, but I think the fact that they beat Nottingham Forest, a team they should win, but the fact they beat them with the clean sheet tonight, it's very convincing. You're starting to get goals going through.
Proper win.
Builds a little bit of confidence.
Momentum.
Yeah,
proper
of course.
Win. Yeah.
Yeah, it's back where they belong, as Bukayo Saka says. And do you know what? On that away record, Arsenal hadn't won away in the Champions League in their last 5 games. They hadn't scored away in the Champions League in their last 4. This was huge. This equalled their biggest ever away win in the Champions League, which was 5-1 against Inter back in 2003. Are we now seeing, as we heard from Bukayo Saka, an Arsenal side that does belong in this competition, that is as good as some of the old Arsenal sides that we've seen previously?
Well, they're building, aren't they? And they're certainly building their reputation. I mean, we talked to Saka there, talked about belief. And there were occasions this season when you thought, OK, the world was against them a little bit. They kept that belief. And I think Ødegaard is a player that's come in and really opened up that creative channel for Saka. And those two in tandem are as good as anything in Europe on that right-hand side of that pitch. They really are that good. So long may that continue. It's one performance, one result. And they've got to take that forward now for the rest of this to try to qualify for the next stages of the Champions League. And as Rio said, it's going to be 7 or 8 games now where they're going to have to win on the bounce to put Liverpool under any kind of pressure in the Premier League. They're the rules. That's what happens. It's a tough league they're in. They have to keep winning. But tonight will be a tremendous boost for their confidence.
We've talking about, and rightly so, about how much this team missed Ødegaard. But let's not undercut or undervalue the importance of Bukayo Saka. Yeah. Because he had the armband at the end of the game there. He could be Arsenal captain without a shadow of a doubt. He doesn't need the armband. He's a leader in this team already. He leads them with his ability to take the ball all the time. Under pressure or no pressure, he wants the ball and wants to make something happen. His goals return, his goals and assists consistency is through the roof. And he's someone, again, who England are going to really have to rely upon in years to come. But here at Arsenal, he's just like the whole place is built for him.
He has carried the club for a number of years, by the way. But he needs help around him. And, of course, when you see that in big numbers, of course, I think there's lots of mentions here tonight as well. I think Partey is somebody that the fans weren't sure about. I think he's probably having his best season. Timber was away last year with the injury. He looked really secure on that right-hand side. The two centre-backs.
Does Ben White come back in the team if he's fit, with the way Timber's playing?
Well, it's interesting. He's had surgery on his knee. There's competition for places. I think they're all going to be needed anyway at some point. There's so many games, isn't there, to get through. But it's now shaping up the squad. It's still work to do, though, because Liverpool, what are they, 8-9 points ahead of Arsenal? Yeah. So in the Premier League, you turn your attention to that this weekend, playing against West Ham, who somehow beat Newcastle away from home, which now is not an easy thing to do. So there's never an easy game for them, but they've got to just keep in that mode. And I think that does a lot for their confidence tonight.
There's nothing like a boost of a big midweek win, especially at the highest level in the Champions League against a side like Sporting, who we said pre-match, they were the form team in the competition. And when you see how Arsenal performed in those opening exchanges, in the opening 45 minutes, creating those opening 2 goals down that right-hand side, that was key. And that is Saka, that is Odegaard, and as you mentioned, that's Timber.
Yeah, and this is, again, you notice it even more because he's not been there, Ødegaard, but he comes out there, and again, one big detail in the game today, crosses create havoc, pandemonium in opponents' boxes. You cross the ball, you create chances, I'm telling you that, and here again, that's the first cross. There's 3 crosses in the first half, all result in goals. And it's just fabulous play of overloads in areas, but then anticipating the ball coming into the box. And as I said, Havertz, I thought even today, his movement, running, creating space for other players.
Doesn't he? Into position. Yeah. Very intelligent. He's always available. Everyone's played their part there tonight. So I think that's Martinelli is important as well, because sometimes in front of goal it looks like he's snatching things a little bit. That was a nice little tuck away for him. But again, it's confidence boost for him.
Absolutely. Everyone played their part. Everyone raised their game. They did what they do best, and something that Arsenal do best as well, or do very well, is set pieces and scoring from them. And Gabriel is one of those players who always seems to pop up.
We've gone a bit quiet on set pieces in recent weeks, so this will be good for the coach, the set piece coach. And the ball in is absolutely delicious. Declan Rice was asked to do this around about Christmas time last year. He came on to set pieces, and since then, I mean, the amount of times he delivers like that is first class. Gabriel.
We're really talking about the goals scored. Raya made 8 saves today, by the way.
Yeah.
So he's played his part as well in this team, and he's coming up and standing up as a really key component in this side as well. Great personality to come in the circumstances he did and still produce performances, and now he's an outright number 1. So for any great team, any team wanting a challenge for any trophies needs a really good goalkeeper, and he's really turned into one.
Yeah, exactly. That was an inspired move, wasn't it, from Mikel Arteta? He knew what he was doing, and he brought in David Raya. You know, at half-time, we said, look, they're 3-0 up. This is going brilliantly. Martin, you're always a little bit nervous when it comes to Arsenal, and you were right to be, because as soon as that second half kicked off, 47 minutes in...
They did, and we knew that, because the City game, they scored 2 goals in quick succession, 2 goals in 3 minutes, and you wondered if it was going to be the same sort of evening. Calafiori there gets done a little bit, early movement to the near post, he can't get there. There's 1 or 2 players not reacting quick enough, and then you thought, hold on, is this going to be, look, let's get back into position?
You were on your knees at this moment, under this table, under this desk.
I had every confidence.
We needed studio cam, didn't we?
Putting you back on your chair.
I realised there was a lot of, let's say, not Arsenal fans in the studio when that went in. There were a lot of cheers around me. But Arsenal overcame that, and in the end, they were completely dominant. You know, there was never any scares after that.
Yeah, and that's it. They were absolutely dominant. I mean, let's take a look at the penalty incident now. That one came shortly after. I suppose there's no arguments here, Rio.
No, there wasn't. But again, comes from that right-hand side, coming inside the pitch. Ødegaard at the centre of everything. And I couldn't believe the reaction of the Sporting players here. They couldn't believe the penalty was given. When you see it there in slow motion,
well, 2 of them involved.
He kicks only the calf of Ødegaard, and this guy steps up. No doubts
Pressure
at all. Yeah, no doubts. Side netting, look, no keeper's getting that.
Yeah, absolutely. And then they made sure of it, as if it wasn't already, with Leandro Trossard coming off the bench.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good shot there as well. 2 substitutes involved, and Trossard just staying on side. Times it nicely. I mean, look, really smacks that hard, and then he just tucks it away. So good for the squad players coming on keeps that spirit going, everybody playing their part now. They're going to be needed between now and the end of the season. A lot of work to do.
Sporting, by the way, Amorim, gone, and then get smashed 5-1 like that. Wow. Imagine the newspapers back over there in Portugal. We're going crazy.
Yeah. Well, this is the interesting part, because we talked about the foundations being laid by Ruben Amorim and actually João Pereira maybe not having to tinker too much. But today what they saw was a lesson by Arsenal.
Yeah, Arsenal really did their homework, though, in the way that they played the game, the tactics, the overloads they created in midfield. They couldn't really engage. They never really got tight enough to Arsenal, and took every opportunity that came their way. So, no, you'd expect them now to bounce back, but nonetheless, without their manager, there's one or two players in there feeling a bit wounded after that performance tonight. So, it's going to be a tricky evening for them to deal with this.
Yeah, do you know what? We talked pre-match about Victor Gyökeres, how to keep him quiet. He's the man who is on everyone's lips, is the player. Every season it seems that there's a big number 9 who's coming up and who's going to have him. Arsenal did a job on him today, didn't they?
Yeah, but we mentioned before the game and showed his strengths, but his strengths, we spoke about, played into the strengths of the two centre-halves he was up against. And that's what he would find in the...
Sporting looked positively average at times tonight. How did you manage to do that?
Well, we spoke about it before the game. We know they haven't lost here this season and they've been a top team, but, we believe in ourselves. We just have to be us and go with confidence. And today we did that. Everyone was top. Anyone could have got this. And, yeah, I'm really proud of all the boys today.
Was that a bit of a pressure penalty just at that moment in the game? How important was it that you buried that?
It was important, yeah, but I didn't really feel the pressure. I was confident, so, yeah.
What's it like for you having Martin Ødegaard back? Because that link-up play down the right-hand side, does he enable your game?
Yeah, he's an unbelievable player, and the day he returned, there was a big smile on my face, and you can see the chemistry we have, how much I enjoy playing with him. So I'm happy he's back, and I hope he stays fit for the rest of the season.
Absolutely, and look, Arsenal back in the Champions League, back with a win. Does this feel where Arsenal should be?
Yeah, this is where we belong, so we've showed the level we can play at, and we need to continue like this.
Bukayo, thank you so much.
Thank you, cheers.
Premier League, week in, week out, two big, strong, quick centre-halves, majority of the time. And can he deal with them? It wasn't until Gabriel went off that he actually got a bit of joy against Kivor, because a player who's not as quick and not as strong. But these two centre-halves are two of the best as a partnership, and they didn't give him an ounce the whole game that they were on the pitch together. They're there. This is where he's been crucifying teams in those areas, running the channels. These guys look supremely comfortable and confident doing that. And so, have I seen enough to say that I think he can come to the Premier League and be a success? I'm not saying he wouldn't, but I'd say you'd need to see more than what we saw today, definitely.
Yeah, I totally agree. But I think, credit to the Arsenal boys. They rose to the challenge, and they are quick, strong, mobile, and they dealt with pretty well everything that he put his way. Kivor came on, had a little bit of an issue. You can see that. But he wasn't able to bully them. And even with this shot here, a bit wild, maybe trying too hard. They didn't necessarily give him an awful lot of the ball. There again, he's shooting really early because he doesn't fancy it, does he? Taking on Gabriel. So I think they showed their quality tonight.
But your confidence is shot by that point, isn't it? Because you're not able to do what you do best.
No, but
as a striker.
With someone who scored the amount of goals he scored this year, you can't lose confidence.
33 in 25 appearances.
Yeah, you can't lose confidence after 45 minutes. So it's just that sometimes when you're up against somebody, you go, you know what, I actually don't feel that my powers, my superpowers, are stronger than theirs. And then that does sap confidence a little bit. But you would have thought that, listen, that's when you have to find other ways. You can't be one-dimensional if you're going to come and be a top player, top number 9. There has to be different. Harry Kane, Lewandowski just got 100 goals in the Champions League. They find different ways to score goals. And he'll have to do that at the top level to be considered one of the top players. But he's got time still.
They absolutely did. OK, let's hear from one man who did stand up tonight. He got a goal as well. Kai Havertz is with Becky.
Kai, was that just a great team effort out there tonight?
Yeah, for sure. I think everyone was involved. The way we played, the way we competed today was very good, and I think we're very happy.
Were you surprised in the first half? Were you expecting more of a competitive first half than perhaps what you got? Because you had a lot of space out there to kind of do what you wanted.
I mean, I think it was because we played very well. We always found the space, the free men, and had lots of solutions. And yeah, I think we did very well. Second half, We suffered a bit the first 50 minutes, but then turned it around, and I think that's why we won today.
Look, you got the second goal of the night, but that's your 100th club goal, period. You're 8th for Arsenal. Bit of a milestone for you there?
I didn't even know. I just got some messages on my phone, so yeah, I'm happy about it and hope to score some more now.
How do you think this Arsenal team are growing in the Champions League this season compared to last?
Yeah, we won. I mean, after last season's loss against Munich, we wanted to do better, especially games away from home. Today, yeah, we wanted to turn it around, show also that we can win games away from home, and I think we did exceptional today, and can be very proud of that.